sometimes I sit back and I think, like, man, what could have been? But then also I think, what can still be?
Mike, check 1 2 1 2. What's going on? It's the all new KZ 123, number one for throwbacks. Ross Martinez, welcome into the KZ Community Beat, our podcast hosted by myself. Hey, in the hot seat this week, Marquise Henderson from Top 4D, Central Illinois Top 40 Party Band. We met on the 4th, man, and we got to talk and bonded over B McKnight.
right.
Step one. I'm trying to sing all off key, and you over here just like nailing it. But yo. It's interesting because we both come from that funk soul era of music. Like my family to this day still does Soul Train lines at the crib. Like even at the crib, my mom would be like, "Yeah, come down the line with the little babies and all that." Like, bro, my entire vibe is 70s. So I'm like, okay, I heard you see Big McKnight. I'm like, damn, my man got some pipes.
Yeah, I'll try.
But you know. This podcast is used to just get different people's perspectives and all that. So it always amazes me when I see a minority out of the norm.
Right.
Singing into music that you wouldn't normally be like, oh. Right. Like you look at me and you're like, oh, hip-hop cats.
Right.
But I like alt rock. I like Sum 41, brother. I like Green Day.
Yeah.
So we were talking off mic how you grew up with secular music.
Mm-hmm. So pretty much... I grew up not listening to secular music almost until I was in like 2nd grade.
Damn.
Yeah, it was all gospel. You know.
I like how you say that with a very straight plain face, like it was what it was.
Yeah. I like to think that I learned a lot of my inflections with my voice from that. You know,
I feel like a lot of amazing singers come from that type of music, from gospel music, church music, where they learn to sing with passion for dedication or like some higher entity power, God being in our case.
Right.
But like who are the biggest influences like musically to you?
Musically, you said Ryan McKnight, Usher, number one, Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake was one of the first like secular music that I could listen to, like with NSYNC, and I was like, man, like that guy has a great voice, and I don't know.
He do, man. Like I like that. What's that one NSYNC song? Gone.
Oh yeah.
Gone.
The truth remains your
gone. You know what I mean? That's the best I got, me. But are you the lead singer? What's your role in Top 40?
Yeah, I'm the lead singer.
So you were telling me that before when you got found, you were in construction.
Yep, construction worker. Still construction worker.
So how does someone find you? Be like, yo, this man can sing. Give him a chance. Were you just singing on scene?
Yeah, pretty much. There was a couple guys that were talking about their band at the job site, and my foreman was like, hey, these guys said they got a band, and they keep saying that they're really good at singing. Nobody's really heard you. Why don't you go sing for him? I went and I sang R. Kelly Bump and Grind. And the guy looked at me like, what are you doing?
Because
like,
it's country.
Yeah, you know? And
man, you can put country twang on R. Kelly.
Right. And he was like, what are you doing here? I was like, man, I'm just trying to get by like everybody else, until something pops. And then, I did that. I sang. He asked me to sing with him, like not with his band, like a part of his band, but they gave me like 20 minutes in the middle of each show, just go out and sing. One day I was singing, and one of my best friend, pretty much, Connor, was there to perform after us. And when we did that, that's when he was like, hey, like, and I hadn't seen him like for years, because I met him back in Champaign at an open mic.
Connor's the one I met on 4th.
Yeah,
cool cat.
Yeah, dude, he's super cool. Easily one of my best friends, if not my best friend.
Hey.
But he asked me, he was like, hey man, are you with them or no? And I was like, nah. He was like, well, come sing in my band, and history was made, I guess.
So Top 4D, has it always been like Top 40 party music, or?
Yep. That's what we try to focus on. I feel like that's our like niche, I guess you can say. We like to get the party started.
I mean, you had all the people at Martini's having a good ass time, man.
Yeah, we tried.
I say that. What was it? That green? No, not Green Day. It was some 41. I remember I was taking down banners at the end of the night, and I'm like, yo, what the hell? Like,
oh, you're talking about Is there more than you bargained for?
yeah. Dude, that
People
brought
love
back
that
my
song.
high school because it's so iconic.
Yeah,
I don't
it
care
is, man.
where you come from. You've heard that.
Yeah. That's exactly how it is.
So how does it feel? Like, I remember you told me you want to sing R&B. Like, that was your thing.
Yeah,
How does it feel currently doing top 40 alt stuff right now?
To be honest with you, at first I was like, I was excited to do it, and then I was kind of down because I was like, man, like I'm not singing what I feel like I'm best at with R&B, but then we added some. But then honestly, the way I look at it is, if I can sing, pop punk, country, rock, and then people don't even know that I sing R&B, and then I hit them with R&B, that just shows, the level of talent.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, it shows your range.
Yeah.
So what has been like your favorite song to perform with Top 4D so far?
Let's see, my favorite song has got to be This Is How We Do It.
This is how we do it. I think I heard y'all do that. I got out there in time. Y'all had a at the end of the night when I was able to get out there and see you guys and take care of everything. I'm like, damn, they got a nice little set. Like, I see this.
Thank you, man.
Like, y'all had everybody out there vibing, having a good time. Drinks was flying. That's always a great thing.
Yeah, that's always a good thing.
So you're originally from Florida.
Yep, Daytona Beach.
So how'd you get to Peoria?
Man, my wife.
She Peorian?
Yeah, well, she lives out in Washington, or we live out in Washington. She was from Washington. She moved down there and was moving back, and we stayed in contact. And then she was like, "Hey, like, are we gonna, be together, or how do you want to do this?" And I was like, "You know what? I'm kind of getting tired of Daytona. I'll go and figure out something new." And I did that, and I'm here now.
Dang, it's got to be a big change because I'm from Chicago.
Dude, it's a huge change.
And
The cold.
the cold's big. For me, it's a culture shock.
Yeah, that too.
Because I'll tell you, I'm not used to being the only minority in a lot of rooms.
Right. I wasn't either until I moved up here.
Take me through that. Like, how was that? How was that change completely for you?
I mean, how would I say this? I never have a problem with it. I've never really had any problems. I get along with everybody. Like, everybody's always like, "Hey, your talent is singing." I'm like, "No, my talent ain't singing. My talent is being likable." Like, I get along with everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's one person that you can ask that's met me. It's like, I don't like Marquise. It's just how I am.
And where's that stem from?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I've just always been like a fun, happy person. Like, I'm normally never upset, you know what I mean? And even if something does make me upset, I try to find a way to joke about it. Because, I mean, who likes being down?
I mean,
You know what I mean?
I'm same with you. Like, I feel like comedy and just lightheartedness, spreading that
Joking
joy.
around.
Yeah. But I will say I've seen my fair share of traumas, lost my people, been through some horrible shit, but I've still maintained this of, like, the lightheartedness.
Yeah.
Is that similar to your journey?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not to get, like, too personal, but, like...
Get personal. It's a podcast.
I got you. So, like, I mean, my mother was, murdered when I was, 2 years old. My brother was 2 months. Dad wasn't really around. My grandma took us in. That's why I'm actually in Florida, because I was in Texas. Or that's why I moved or was from Florida, because I was in Texas. But yeah, like, I don't know. At a young age, I guess I just thought, like, man, if I can find a way to joke about things, then it'll help me. And then I guess I noticed that it helps other people too. It's like a icebreaker, So.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't like the jolly fun dude that's in the crowd that can lift other people's spirits?
Exactly. And I mean, like I said, like, nobody likes to be upset or sad. I don't know. I always like to have a good time. I like to have fun.
Because I know for me, I went through my therapy where, I've gone to therapists, talked about it. It was me having a Band-Aid to get past the people I've lost or the horrible shit I've seen.
Yeah.
Kind of to trick myself into, I'm good.
Yeah. And it's a good thing that you're going to therapy, too, because, like, I never, as a minority in where I'm from, you don't go to therapy. You just kind of get over it.
You drink it, smoke it out, go hang it out, bank it out.
Yeah, and within the last, 3-4 years, I've started going to therapy. And it's funny you say that because that's one of the things that my therapist has said. Like, maybe that was a way to, make you feel better or kind of, like you said, put a Band-Aid on things. And, it works for me. I try to, I don't know, I just like having fun. I like seeing people smile. That's why I'm always smiling.
I love the fact people, like, anytime they talk about me or reference me, they're like, oh, no, he's always got a laugh going.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, man.
That's how it's supposed to be,
Life's too short.
Yeah.
I've done, we both experienced that in different ways. It's just always interesting. Do you feel tired sometimes or exhausted being that source of energy or that source of laughter, entertainment?
Not, to be honest with you, not really. Like, it does, like, there are times, don't get me wrong, there are times that, like, I am down, but, like, I guess you can say I try not to show it. You know what I mean? Like, I try not to show my hand or my cards. I just, like, if I'm ticked about something at home, it's like, when I'm with people, it's like, hey, I'm here now. I try to leave.
Compartmentalize, or what's the word? That's a big word.
Compartmentalize.
There we go.
Yeah.
I heard it in therapy. I still don't know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know. It's just I try not to, because let's be real. With all the stuff that's going on in the world, it's everybody's upset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I kind of like, hey, if I bring what I have at work, right, home, that's just gonna make home as bad as work. If I bring what I have, like, let's just say, I'm having a bad week or something at work, and then I got to go out to a show, when I go out to the show, those people don't care about my problems.
No.
Not saying that they don't care, but,
But they
like,
don't
hey,
care.
Yeah, I'm here to have a good time. So it's like, hey, man, you got to put on a smile. Not really a front. I guess you can kind of say it's a front, but it's not, because, like, that's naturally me. Like, I just always got a smile on my face.
But life as an entertainer, right? No matter what you're going through, the people that are paying to see you or coming out to see you or are there to see you, they're there for you to help them disassociate from their own shit going on in their own life.
Yeah.
So if you're out there be like, man, I hate everybody, you're like, me too, man, what the hell?
Yeah. But no, it's one of those things too that, like, the crowd does it for me as well. You know what I mean?
Oh, you get that instant gratification?
Yeah, because it's like, when you're a performer, no matter what you do, you want to know that you're doing good, right? If I'm singing to a crowd that's just staring at me,
that's the
and
worst.
not saying anything, I'm gonna think in my mind, like, okay, am I doing good? Like, do I got something in my teeth? You know what I mean? Like what's going on? But it helps when I sing to see people, like, having a good time, no matter what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I will immediately just drop it and be like, you know what, I'm focusing right here. I'm going to make y'all have a good time, and y'all going to help me have a good time.
Can you recall ever a moment or performance where, like, you put everything into it and the crowd just did not receive it at all?
Oh, man. I know it's happened before.
Because it's happened to me a few times where I go on stage, crack jokes, and crickets.
Yeah,
I'm like, man, fuck y'all.
Right. I mean, it's happened before. Can I think of a for sure instance? No, but, man, it happens a lot. Like, if we're at a bar and there's not a lot of people in there, then, you're just singing
to the three locals?
Yeah, you know what I mean? And they're not here to even see you. They're here because they're a local at that bar and they're trying to get wasted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have that. You have your ups and downs, but I don't know. I just, like I said, I try to look at everything in a positive light. I'm trying to, I don't know, try to get people to have a good time. Who don't want to have a good time?
There's some.
You know what I mean?
There's some. There's
They
some
usually
grumbling
come out
Judies.
The shows though.
Now, sometimes they buy a ticket to hate. You know?
Right, yeah.
Now, on the inverse, can you remember one of your best performances?
Ooh. Probably one of my best performances was about a week or two ago. We were at Little Swan Lake out in Avon, Illinois, and you know we do it every year. But something about that July 4th, or not on the 4th, but the day before the 4th, just I don't know. We meshed.
You just clicked beautifully.
Yeah, and it was just like, man, like we were just having a good old time. You know?
Do you chase that high?
Oh, who doesn't?
Because, like, take me through that. How does it feel? Because I'm not a singer. I'm a comic. I get on stage. I crack jokes.
Right.
So my instant gratification is like whenever I have a bit that just lands at every point that I want and the crowd is with I just feel this endorphin. I'm like, yeah let's go again.
It's like your whole body, like, this is going to sound weird. It's like if you had like a peppermint inside your whole body. It just like, you know what I mean?
You get the antsy vibe?
Yeah. Just it makes you feel good. Like I love seeing people happy. And then, you know, when I'm singing songs, like it really showed me a lot when I joined Top 40 because, you know, I don't really sing I didn't really sing anything other than R&B. So to have me singing, like, let's just say like a country song, you know what I mean? And people being like, man, like you sound amazing. Like we did a thing at the Civic Center. I want to say it was like a pre-show for Luke Bryan, and I sang. It was my first time ever singing it in front of anybody. I sang a Johnny Cash song.
Oh, which one?
Oh my God!
Rain of Fire.
Folsom Blues. Folsom Prison Blues. And I sang it, and like after the show, this lady came up to me, and you know, I'm just going by what she said. I don't know if she was serious or not. She was like, "Hey, just to let you know, like, I'm not too far off related from Johnny Cash." She was like, "And you singing that song, like, gave me chills. Like, you did amazing." And I was just like, that just made me feel like I was on top of the world. I was like, I don't even really, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even
the offhand compliment.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It just made me feel good, and I don't know, man.
Were you a little insecure before heading on that stage with that song?
To be honest with you, no. Because I know the songs, and like I know I can hit them, but like, again, being a minority, singing, you know,
country music,
and not just any country song, you know what I mean? It's Johnny Cash. It's like, man, like I hope they receive it how I want them to receive it, and then to see that they did receive that, man, it was a high that you can only pray for.
It's like, as entertainers, we chase that instant, immediate, like you did something good.
Yeah.
Have you begun working on any like side projects, albums, where you're waiting for that to come out and you're like, all right?
Yeah, I have.
You got a little something?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you a little bit. Like I said, I'm an R&B guy, so like I love singing things that are like about love, about, you know what I mean, past loves, things like that. And I got a little EP that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Hopefully it sees the light of day. You know, it has to make sense.
How far into it are you?
So it's actually what was it? I was trying to do a 7-song EP, but I got about 6 songs done, and I got one more song that I'm working on currently now.
All originals.
Yep, all originals. I mean, that's how I started, because I was a songwriter before I even moved up here.
Oh, so you've had a pen to the pad for years, huh?
Yeah.
So when did you start writing?
Man, I started writing in like high school. Middle school. When I turned 13, me and 2 other my buddies I was a singer. They were more like rappers and could hold a tune. but we started a group called A13 at 13. We couldn't figure out another.
I like
it. Couldn't figure out.
It's like you're going to the vending machine A13.
Yeah.
I like it. The imagery is there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I can see some promotional flyers for y'all.
Right. So yeah, we did that, and obviously it never saw the light of day. It was just something, but it was a way for me to write down my feelings. You know what I mean? And sing them. So I did that. I think I sang a song about a girl. I thought she was gonna like it. She looked at me like I was crazy. But that's another story. But after that, I went on to high school. I had a friend of mine. He's doing pretty good. Crown is his name. He's a rapper from Daytona Beach, and he was my best friend at that point in my life, and we were always writing songs, always being like, hey man, like this is what we need to do to make it. We had everything planned out. We went off to college and kind of veered.
Y'all had your own lives.
Yeah, and he's doing good. Then I want to say my second year in college, because when I went to college, I had a full scholarship for music. So I was in the choir, did that. What was it? My second year, that's when I started really trying to lean into songwriting, because I figured out, like, man, going to college for music is great, but that's all classical music. And I have a lot of respect for classical, musicians, but that's just not me. Never was. So there was a guy that I knew, a friend of a friend, that was like, hey man, why don't you come to my studio? So I started recording little songs here and there. And then there was a big time studio in Orlando, Florida, Plush Studios, where I literally called Plush Studios and made up this story that I wanted to come in and tour the studio and whatnot. And I was a big time artist overseas, just making stuff up, just trying to get my foot in the door. I got my foot in the door, and at that time I had a song that I recorded, and the engineer, he looked at me and was like, you're not what you said you are, but we're here now, And he asked me, like, you got any music that you can play for me? And I pulled out, back then it was on a CD, pulled out the CD, gave him the CD, and he heard it, and he was just like, yo. He was like, you wrote this? And I was like, yeah. He was like, and you're singing on it too. And I was like, yeah. He was like, all the harmonies, all everything? And I was like, yeah, from top to bottom, other than the producing of the music, like I did. And he was like, give me a second. And he called Eitan Ben Horn up. Eitan Ben Horn was the owner of the studio at that time, but now he is, don't let me get this wrong, oh my gosh, Warner Brothers, or Warner Music, the big label. He's some bigwig.
Oh, he's a dude over there?
Yeah, he's the guy over there now, right under Mike Karen.
Oh,
was like huge.
Yeah.
And he came in and he was like, "Oh man, you're really good." Like,
how'd that feel?
Oh, dude, it
like,
I felt like.
Can you still like see yourself in that moment? Like,
dude, like it was yesterday. I was in there and he was talking to me and he was like, "Yeah, so what are you trying to do?" And I was like, I want to be an artist, but I know that to be an artist, you got to have everything lined up and the stars aligned. I was like, I feel like it'll be easier for me to get my foot in the door with songwriting. He was like, oh, I got a production company. He was like, why don't you want to be a writer for it? And I was like, of course. Dude, I left that studio and I was just bugging. I was like, dog, I'm about to make it. Like it was crazy. And at that point, he wasn't, Warner Music Eitan. He was still a big deal. Don't get me wrong.
But he wasn't like who he is now.
Yeah. And
like he didn't have pull, but he had pull.
Exactly. Like in the Orlando music scene,
yeah,
he had one of the top studios. He had the second top studio.
So he could put you on in the city, but not in the country.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I wrote songs with his production company. I met a lot of people in the studio. it was crazy. I helped write a few songs that like I can be like I was a ghostwriter.
Can you say which ones, or are you contractually?
I can't.
Yeah.
But
knowing you, I could probably guess a couple from Florida.
Yeah.
Just blink once if I hit it. But like in that moment, right? You're going into this. You fake it till you make it at that point.
Yep.
To a level, because you know the talent's there.
Mm-hmm.
You could back it up with the CD, everything. But in that moment, you got that heart flutter, right? And this dude pretty much validates
everything that I've
the
always thought.
fears that you may have kind of had conceptually, but now the confidence in you back is like, no, I am good.
Yeah.
So you leave, and what happens after this?
So I did that. I did that for a while, and then there was a song that I wrote that, with the producer that I wrote it with, we tried to pitch it to Rick Ross. According to the A&R, he really liked the song, but he never cut it.
Damn. So that happens a lot.
Yeah. So I was new at that point, so I was like, I'm just thinking, oh man, Ross likes my song. You know, never cut it. But then another guy did, and I didn't know who this guy was. And one day I think at that point I was in Jacksonville with one of my ex-girlfriends, and I got a random phone call. And it was like, hey, is this Marquise? And I was like, yeah, who is this? And he was like, oh, hey, what's up? My name's Benzino. I wanted to tell you I heard your song and I really liked it.
Benzino?
Yeah, like Source Magazine, Benzino.
That's why I was like, Benzino?
Yeah.
Like, you can't just like, oh man, Benzino.
Yeah,
like,
no.
You trying to float over there like it was nothing. That's a big name in media.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, it's just, at that time, I hate to say this, but not growing up in secular music, I really didn't know who he was.
But that benefits you also.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't have the steel nerves of somebody that like knows these names and knows the hierarchy and all this. You coming in just, yo, I'm dope. What's up?
Yeah. And he asked me, and the whole time I'm thinking like, man, this is probably going to be a waste of time. And then it all changed when he was like, hey, so what are you trying to do? And I was like, I mean, I'm trying to be a songwriter, you know, and an artist, but, you know, gave him the same thing. Like, I'm trying to get my foot in the door with songwriting. He was like, so what are you doing tonight? And I'm thinking he's in, like, Orlando or something. It's only, like, you know, 2 hours away from Jacksonville, 2.5. And I was like, I don't know, tonight I ain't really got nothing going on. Why, what's up? He was like, you want to come down to Miami? And I'm like, Miami is, like, 6 hours away from Jacksonville. I don't know if I'm thinking in my head, like, maybe I'm not gonna. I was like, yeah, but I live, like, right now I'm in Jacksonville. He was like, that's cool, I'll get you a plane ticket. And he flew me out that night. Within 2 hours, I was on the plane.
Yo.
Yeah, and it was pretty crazy. I got to go down to his studio down in, I want to say it was Aventura. Yeah, Aventura, like, in the middle of Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Got to meet Stevie J. Didn't know who Stevie J was.
You shaking hands, Stevie J, not knowing who Stevie J is.
Dude, let me tell you something. Stevie J and Benzino, they were on Love and Hip Hop. I was through that.
Are you serious?
No, I'm dead serious.
Like behind the scenes, that entire era?
Yep. Well, almost the entire era, because I ended up leaving.
Yeah.
There were some things that were going on that I just didn't see as like something that I wanted to continue with. You know, and actually my grandma got really sick at that time, so I had to leave, and that was a big thing. I was like, well, my grandma needs me. Then on top of that, like,
you don't agree with things going on.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it was a good time. I wouldn't trade that experience for anything.
But you left on good terms.
Oh yeah. I left on great terms. You know, it was just one of those things that it sucked. You know, it really did, because I was like, I wanted to stay, but then it was like, okay, like, where do I see myself going with this? You know, at the end of the day. Then on top of that, with my grandma being sick, it was like, my grandma sacrificed everything to take care of me and my brother, so I gotta, you know, make a sacrifice for her as well. Yeah. So that was fun though, being in Atlanta at that time.
Yeah.
it was.
I mean, during that Love and Hip Hop era,
Yeah.
that's when things were magnified to an entire new degree with the
Yeah.
media. So you behind the scenes, seeing everything going on.
Yep.
Do you have
Jocelyn Hernandez.
You just saw what happened to Jocelyn Hernandez?
Yeah, I seen that.
I'm not gonna talk about that either because we y'all just
it's crazy, man. But like the one thing I will say is Jocelyn has always been that type of person.
Jocelyn?
From the moment I met her, I was in the studio. Oh my gosh, I can't think of her name, but there was a R&B singer who was in, is it 102, 302? I can't think of her name, but we were in the studio writing songs for her. I was writing 2 songs for her, and in walks Jocelyn because Stevie was there. And Stevie was engineering the whole project or producing the whole project, and you know, we get there and she's just loud and I'm like, who is this girl? Super nice though, you know, like she
but just loud
like,
as Jocelyn.
Yeah, she's abrasive almost. You know what I mean? That's just her
she's on defense 24/7.
Yeah, like. But the whole, like, it's funny because, you know, my friends ask, like, man, the whole Puerto Rican princess and that, has that all? I was like, dude, that's always been good. That's
because there's no cameras around at that time.
Yeah, I was like, to the fullest. Yeah, she wasn't, at that point, we weren't even on the show.
Yeah.
We were just, you know, in Atlanta making music and, you know.
Miami to Atlanta to Elgin, or not to Elgin, to Peoria.
Yep, to Peoria.
Like, how the little kid in you had to been losing their shit while you're sitting there in these studio sessions with different people that you may have not known who they are, but you got to know who they were.
Yeah. So the one that really like blew the first one that like blew my mind is when we were in the studio. Actually, so I was at the studio and Mace walked in, and I was like, at that point,
you knew Mace.
Like, I'm looking, I'm like, that's Mace. You know what I mean? Like that's at that point in when I grew up and I could listen to secular music, knowing who Mace was, I was like, that's the first cool rapper. You know what I mean? Like think about it. You know, like he was the first cool rapper, and I was like, man, like, and he was like, yo, like it was cool voice. He was like, so what you do? And I was like, oh, I'm a songwriter and vocal producer. He was like, let's see what you can do on my artist. And, you know, I helped her out, and he was like, yeah, you nice with it, you know, but. You know.
Damn, you got the low key co-sign from Mace.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I like how you nonchalant about this, but I know inside you geeking.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, but it was one of those things that like I didn't want to seem too excited or too thirsty, if that makes sense, because like
uber eager, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where it's like if you do that, then I always thought like, man, if I act too excited, then they're gonna be like, oh, you're a fan. You're not really here to work. You know what I mean? So it's just I always try to keep it
balance it out.
Yeah, you know what I mean. The one person though that I did meet, and I was just like, yo, man, this is Chicago Bulls, right?
Mm-hmm.
I met Dennis Rodman.
You met Rodman? What year did you meet Rodman?
I met Dennis
because this plays a big vital role of the image you got of Rodman. Is this pre Carmen Electra?
So this is past.
Post Carmen.
This is like 2009, 2010.
Is that right? That's right after he was on the reality TV show. What was that? He was in a house with a bunch of fools.
Oh, I know.
I think that was in 2008.
Yeah. So
Celebrity House, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So it was me and me, Stevie J, and Benzino. We were performing for our first time ever all of the songs that we wrote and did at Lil' Kim's birthday party in Miami, and I was already like, Lil' Kim's there.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
Lil' Kim was like the sex icon of hip hop back in the day.
She was, man.
Like it's not even a question.
Nicki Minaj is now.
Oh, she was even more back then.
Like a Megan Thee Stallion. She was the
Was she the exception of it all? I'm trying to think if there's anybody before her.
She was a prototype.
Was Foxy Brown? Nah, Foxy Brown really wasn't in that category, was she?
Yeah, she was.
Wasn't?
She was, but like I think Kim took it to a whole
yeah, because I remember the album cover where she got the legs spread up and
yeah.
What dude didn't have that like hanging up in the bedroom? You know what I mean?
Because my grandma wouldn't allow it.
Yeah. I had it behind another car, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like Queen.
But yeah, I was standing there. We were standing. It was me and Stevie. We were outside of the club, and we were standing there, and Stevie was talking to some girls, and I was always, they call me the young boy. They call me young boy, you know? And they're like, young boy sang something for him, and I sang something. Oh my gosh. But they didn't want to talk to me. They just want to talk to Stevie.
You were the quick buddy, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And then all of a sudden I'm standing there, and I hear somebody say, hey man, you look kind of cool. Can I stand by you? And I look to my side, and then I look up, and it's Dennis Rodman.
Get the hell out of here.
Big old freaking lip ring in the middle of it. And I'm like, yo, this is Dennis Rodman. That was the one person that I lost it, and I was like, I mean, I didn't lose it, but like I didn't act cool. I was just like, hey, man, can I get a picture with you?
That's the only time you ask for the pic? You like, have to.
Yeah, dude.
That's the bad boy of NBA.
You know what I mean? Like I was being from Daytona Beach, I was still a huge Jordan fan.
Yeah.
The whole Jordan era. I like basketball. Like I got a full scholarship for music, but I even played basketball in college. You know what I mean? So like basketball was like technically my first love. You know, so seeing him, I was like, yo, I gotta get a freaking.
Both your worlds colliding in that moment, dude.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yo, because Dennis Rodman at that time in 2008, 2010, right? His popularity off court has skyrocketed to a different level.
Yeah, dude. Kim Jong-un is like one of his best friends.
Yeah, that is
who
wild.
Who would have ever thought of that? You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy to me. But
I remember seeing those news junkets, this man over just chilling in North Korea. I'm like, yo, what is Rodman just doing side quests now?
Yeah, dude. Like, goodness gracious. I saw it a few years ago, maybe like 2 years ago. I seen his interview on the Breakfast Club, and he was in there talking about how, like, what is it, Madonna was asking him to have, like, hey, can I have your kids or whatever? He said no. And I was like, how do you say no to Madonna? You know what I mean?
Rodman's easy.
Yeah. You got to be
It's like once you had Carmen Electra.
Yeah, you know, like, man.
Yo. So in this era of your life, right before everything had to come to the end that it did,
yeah.
Where was your mind mentally, like just experiences? Because you know you're the young boy, So you're experiencing all this. You know, I guess it would be fame in a way, but also just you're among other people that are talented, skilled, that had the validation of the people, the community, they have fans, right?
Right.
Like you're talking about an NBA champion.
Right.
You're talking about Mace, who is extremely iconic in hip hop. Little Kim, Rick Ross, these are names.
Yeah, like I partied with Diddy. I partied with Diddy.
This is before him or Mace had that fallout.
Oh, this was after.
This is when Mace came back, right?
No, I don't even think Mace was back making. Actually, this
because he came
because he came back, and I think he did something with G Unit.
That's right.
Something
after
like
he
that.
did that "I'm Back" song.
Yeah,
I'm back.
Yeah.
I remember that one. He was like, "Where you been? I've been out, man."
Right,
I remember Mace. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, it's dude. The stories that I could tell, man. It's wild to be like, I made it that far, and then, I mean, not that I'm upset with how my life went, but like now I'm in, Peoria working at a construction company and singing in a band.
I mean, at some level as an individual, right? Just to see the journey, right? Everything's peaks and valleys in this world.
Right.
There's no consistent peak because where's the fun of that?
Yeah.
You can't reminisce and joke and have fun, be like, yo, I was standing next to fucking Rodman.
Right.
And now you're hanging out in Washington, Illinois. Like,
right.
There's serendipity in that story.
Mm-hmm.
There's some irony in there at the same point, but is that also a challenge for you? Like some days where you're like, man, I was here, and now no disrespect to our area or anything, but
yeah.
when you go from dabbing up Dennis Rodman to Hey, man,
Yeah,
what's the blue
yeah.
collar lunch today?
Right. I mean, it. Sometimes I sit back and I think like, man, what could have been, but then also I think, what can still be. You know what I mean? I'm still young.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I don't think that there's anything in this world that I can't do if I really put my mind to it. And it's also like I'm a real big listener of motivational speakers, and the one thing that almost every big name motivational speaker says that, like, hey, the hardest million to make is that first million.
You listen to Tony Robbins.
Yeah. Once you figure out how to make that first million, you can make it again.
But yeah, I mean,
I just ain't made a million yet.
Put it in complete retrospect. I mean, you stumbled upon that.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine what a completely dedicated, passionate person who has so many years of refining their art and craft. Like, I've seen, like, no smoke up you, man. Like, I've seen you perform, right? And if you can do that to a Peoria crowd, if it plays here, is a big saying. Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. That was one of the, actually, sorry to interrupt you, that was one of the main reasons why I moved here. Because I was like, man, their slogan is if it plays in Peoria, it plays anywhere. You know? This was before I even stepped foot here. I just Googled Peoria, Illinois, and I saw that, and I was like, I got a chance. I still got a chance. You know what I mean? If it don't happen, will I be upset? No, because it's life. You know what I mean? Like, do I want it to happen? 1,000%. You know, that's the reason I sing. That's the reason I write songs. That's the reason I got a studio. You know what I mean? That's ultimately what I want to do. But, you know, I believe in a higher power, and I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, your journey is what it is, and what is not is not. You know, at the end of the day, you can't cry over spilled milk. You just have to acknowledge the milk is spilled.
Exactly.
And go buy a new one.
Yep.
Sometimes it might not be that easy, but you know what I mean?
Right.
That's the beauty in the journey. The journey is failing, is succeeding, and repeating.
Right.
You know, when you think about it. So, from all that, your story, right? How do you view the next chapter in your life coming about? Like, right now, you're in the grind era, right?
Right.
So what's next for Marquise?
Well, I got plans, but we can only see.
So you one that don't like to step on the crack to break the mama's back, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
I got you.
Exactly.
So you got some things you're working on.
Yeah, man. I do. It'll come out soon. I know it will. It's just, you know how it is. Everything has to align. You know, like it's way bigger than just being. That was the one big lesson that I learned throughout all this. It's not all about just talent.
Oh.
You know, like, talent is great. If you got talent, great. But what else can you do? You know what I mean? Like, do you have a team of people around you that are there for you, that will help you, that will, you know, not nitpick and be like, oh, I'm jealous, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's, because things like that have happened in my life, you know what I mean?
It happened to me too.
Yeah, you know, it's so much more than just talent. You know, talent's not even 50% of it. You know?
It really isn't, man. Like, before I got here, born and raised Chicagoan. I did Chicago radio for 10 plus years. Yeah. Lost the gig. I could not buy radio time.
Really?
Not at all. And I'm a strong believer that I'm exceptionally well in my craft because I put a lot of time and dedication to it, right? Peoria is the only one that answered.
Hey.
So I come out, do the gig, work my ass off. Now I'm in charge of the station. Like, it happens that way.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you could want things to go a certain way and fight that current as much as possible. But then here comes a big tidal wave to remind you ain't in charge.
Yeah.
And it humbles you in a way.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And you got the biggest smile because I feel like you've been humbled like I've been humbled.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, after doing all that, I felt like, man, like I can do whatever. You know what I mean? Like I can walk into any studio, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, you did this?" Nah.
Was that like a sad slap in the face for you?
Oh, dude, it was.
How did you manage that mentally?
Dude, honestly, I learned from it. You know what I mean? Like I took it in. You know, like it's one of those things where it's like you can feel a certain way, and you can think like, oh man, like I'm the gift, you know. But then when somebody lets you know, hey, you're not the gift that I want. You know, you are a gift, but you're not the gift that I want. You're not the gift that I'm looking for.
That is the biggest, saddest reality hit.
Yeah, man, and it just I take the experiences and I learn from them. You know what I mean? Like that's something that my grandma always taught me was like, hey, like never stop learning.
Never stop learning.
You gotta. You can. Her famous words to me was, "Boy, I'm over 60-something years old and I'm still learning. You mean to tell me you can't learn something new?" And I'm like, now I used to look at her and be like, "Okay, grandma, you know, you just whatever. You're an old lady." And now I look at her, I'm like, man, that lady was wise beyond her years. You know, and that's how I look at it now. Like it's one of those things. I remember one thing that I did. I don't know if you ever heard of Po' Boy Music Group, but
yeah.
So yeah, like Breonna Perry, Rick Ross, technically. Who else? Flo Rida. You know, all of those people. I did a songwriting camp, and it was me and 3 other of songwriters and musicians that I knew, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, you know, we're gonna make it from this. You know, this is just me just coming back from Atlanta, being with Stevie J and Benzino.
Dog, that's still wild to me.
It's one of those things that I was like, man, I'm gonna go down here and wow these people. And I did great. They called us back several times, but nothing ever came of it. And it was like, man, you just gotta keep grinding and keep going. And that was one of the reasons I made the decision to like move up here, kind of, because I was like, man, nothing's going right for me. You know,
change the scenery.
Yeah, you know, like
that's what I did.
Yeah, something has to change, because all these people, they know me and they know what I've done and they know how talented I am and the things that I can do, but they don't. I'm too easily accessible. You know what I mean? They can always be like, hey, we need a song written, and I'll be like, hey, I'll be there tomorrow.
Yo, that's wild. You and I have a very similar parallel path in different ways.
Really?
That's how I was in Chicago. Whenever they needed something, I would drop everything.
Yeah.
But I was mismanaged and not taken care of in a way. And once I finally realized that, I put my hard, firm nose in the ground, my boundaries, that's when I never got the calls.
Yeah. And it always happens like that, right?
And you feel, I don't know how you felt, but I internalized like, yo, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I shouldn't put a boundary down. Now I messed my opportunity up. Now I'm not going to get another one. Yeah. And I start spiraling. And then I
went through the same thing.
Then my art takes such a huge hit because I lose the confidence in my ability to perform and do things and shit, man.
Yeah.
Like,
look at us over here connected.
Yeah. We got to grab a couple drinks, man. I'll tell you.
Real.
But it's like, being an entertainer, I don't think people really understand the nuance of behind the scenes, the emotional, the mental aspects of.
They just see you on stage, and they just see you making people laugh, or
entertaining.
Making people have a good time. They don't see like the stress it brings.
Because like when I saw you on stage, I would have never assumed all this.
Yeah.
Your backstory, everything you've been through. No disrespect, I've been like, oh, here's a cat that moved to Peoria. He's got a good singing voice. He's trying to make it.
Yeah.
Not knowing that there's an entire journey, entire chapters in the past that you have to come to terms with.
Yeah.
Have you finally come to terms with everything in the past?
I have. It took a while.
It was hard?
Yeah. Oh, it was really hard. Like it's one of those things that, like, for me, I came from nothing. You know what I mean? Like, to get to where I was, I felt like, man, I deserve to be here. You know what I mean? Like, I deserve to be here. Then you got that little, that higher being that's like, oh, you think you deserve it?
Watch.
Let me show you. And I feel like how did I say this? I don't want to say I felt betrayed, but it was kind of like, man, like, I was here. What else can, like...
Not a stab in the back, but it's,
Yeah.
you got slapped in the back of the head without knowing.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, yo, I was paying attention, like...
Yeah, and it was just, it happened, but I was, I got to the point where I was just like, hey, like, it did happen.
Because when I lost everything in Chicago, bro, I swear I went through a horrible depression.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about because I went through it too, dude. I went through it to where, like, I didn't even want to do music.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, don't show me anything. Don't ask me about a song. Don't, whatever it is. And then it got to the point where I was just, I sat down and was talking to my grandma, actually. One of the last, like, great conversations that I had with her. 'Cause, I mean, she's still alive, but she has
the way you ramped that up, I swear to God, bro. I was like, all right, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I say that because, like, she has dementia.
My grams
so, like,
had that before she passed.
So,
yeah.
Like, she don't really, remember.
We'll have a conversation, then my grams would forget that we just had the conversation, and we'd have it again.
Exactly.
It's hard to see.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
But one of the last conversations that I had with her, she was the one who actually got me out of that. She was like, man, you just don't sound happy when you call. And I was like, I'm happy. She was like, are you though? She was like what's going on? And, can't nobody get something out of you like your grandma. And she got it out of me, and I told her, I was like, man, I just feel like, I'm a failure. You know what I mean? Like, I had all these dreams, these plans. I wrote it out. You know what I mean? Like, I put it down on paper, and it just didn't happen. And she was just like, yeah. She was like, don't forget that. She was like, because what you may think your timeline is, there's another timeline out there that somebody higher up, God, in my sense, is preparing you for. He was like, she was like, you're just not ready yet. You think you're ready, and it looks like you're ready. She was like, but something in you is not ready yet. And once you are ready, then it will happen. So I was like, all right. And with my background in the church and everything, thinking about that, I was like, man, like, that is the best way to put it. And it took my grandma to tell me that. So,
do you think Peoria is your chapter of getting ready for whatever big is happening?
I think it is, honestly.
I feel the same.
Yeah, I think it is. Because, I mean, even with all of the things that I just told you, like, I've met this person, I met that person, I couldn't even get a gig. You know what I mean? Like, here or back home. You know what I mean? Like, they just weren't ready for it. And it was so frustrating. It was like, man, like I've done all these things. And, nothing against the other people that were in those gigs, but I would look at them and be like, I've done so much more. Like, I've gotten there, but it's one of those things.
God had to humble you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and now I'm here. I've met Connor and, Jeremy, Emily, people. These are all people in my band, and it's like, man, like, I think I found my home.
It's a weird feel.
Yeah, like, it's like I found my home in a band that, most of these songs I wouldn't have sang. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm learning that, hey, it's one of those things where
it just takes some time,
Exactly.
One of the songs, but the lyrics are very fitting for the story.
No,
It just takes some time.
It is.
Because when I met you, I mean, come across as a jolly, fun. I'm just any day above ground type of cat.
Right. Yeah.
The same cat that I am.
Yeah.
So that's why I gravitated. Like, oh man, you cool as hell. Like I talked to Connor, but Connor was busy. I didn't want to feng shui. He looked like he was doing
He's
stuff.
a businessman.
Yeah. I was like, all right, Connor, but Connor came in, woo-hoo, when I was on the mic this thing. I was like, I appreciate you. Yeah. But like, you got this energy to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could easily be the opposite of that. You could be bitter. You could come in and just high profile it, do your thing, not mix and mingle, not handshake. You didn't really know what I was doing at the station. I could have just been anybody.
I remember. I think I just look. I didn't even know who you were.
Yeah.
I just saw the KZ 102.3. And I was like, hey man, me and my wife love that station. That's the only station that we listen to. And then you started
I'm like, what up, dog?
And then you were like, oh yeah. I was like, oh okay. Hey, you know?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. So, yeah.
But I could easily have the same. I could be a Market 3 talent that comes down here and thinks of it, this is the motion.
Right.
Rather than a parallel move that has an ample amount of opportunities to grow into something huge. Because, like, I'll be honest, coming in here, I thought this was going to be like a 2-year stop and then my talent would come up. And
right.
But a year and 4 months in, I'm like, oh, shit, this is home.
Yeah.
Like, I like it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm starting to like the community. I'm starting to like the town. Yeah. As I meet more people, as I do more.
And it's crazy, like, so many people, like, I would say friends and family, they're always like, oh, man, Peoria? Like, what's in Peoria? And I'm like, bro, you just got to be here. You got to experience it.
It's a hard work city.
Yeah, you know, like my one of my cousins, he's like, man, like, what is there in Peoria? And I was like, bro, like, you got one of the best cheesecakes I ever had in my life in Peoria. You know what I mean? Like, the food here is great.
You know what I love about this community is the people.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. The people here are great too, man. Like
they're very welcoming. Once they accept you,
yes,
then you're part of the community. But it's proving to them that I see a lot of people make social commentary about how talent comes in, refines their craft, and leaves. That's why it's hard for them to kind of connect with somebody because they feel like they're only here for a cup of coffee. But if you're able to prove to them like a real relationship, like, no, baby, I'm here.
Yeah,
like,
Like,
y'all paying my way, feeding me good. I'm here. Like,
exactly.
I don't want what she got.
Exactly.
I may look, but but it's interesting, man. It's interesting to see another individual because these episodes have primarily been native Peorians that have been here. I've had a handful of people that have come from out of town and are here now. But I think this is the first time I see somebody parallel to my journey that we've been through similar things. Yeah. Maybe to different degrees because I ain't shake up with Dennis Rodman. Like, right. I may have like gave a head nod to Kanye through the hall one time, but you know what I mean? It's not Rick Ross. Right. I got you. Nah, but you know what I mean? It's a story of dedication, humility, and bouncing back. You know?
It's the, how would I say, not, it's underdog story, but it's like, it's not underdog really. It's like, you felt like you were there. You had to be humbled, like we talked about. And then it's like, now your road, your journey is a, hey, now I think I know what I'm doing. And even if I don't know what I'm doing, I know what I'm doing because that's the secret. You don't know what you're doing. We're all just trying to, how do I say, we're all just trying to make it. You know, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, you got a job as a tradesman, you just trying to go to work. You know, you trying to hang some pipe. You got a job as, I don't know, a Best Buy employee. You're just trying to, you know, help somebody get a computer or help somebody get a TV or something. It's, we often get, how do I say this? We often get caught up in our own lives and our own first person
perspective.
Story.
Yeah.
And we don't realize that every single individual is playing that same game and they're in that same first player role and they're just trying to be on their journey. and it's one of those things that I think once people really understand that, I think things will go a lot smoother. People will, I don't want to say be happier, but like they'll have
it's acceptance.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, man, like, yes, my life is all about me, but that person's life is all about them as well, and we need to coexist.
Build a community, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's accepting that we all have our own crosses and burdens, trials, tribulations. Mm-hmm. We're all been through different ringers. We've all been through things. Mm-hmm. But if we have a little bit more compassion, understand that we all have a journey, we all have a story. And some of them stories are not the brightest.
You're right.
Sometimes it's not the hero's tale. Sometimes it's the fall.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a little bit more understanding and peace with that.
What's that song? It's the climb. Yes, it's the
I see you just hit that note effortlessly. What I mean? I can't. It's the time. What I mean? They'll be like, get that cat off the mic. Tell more jokes. Before we end, let me ask you 2 questions. Yeah, one is business and one is personal.
Okay.
All right, business. To check out anything that you're doing or to see your next performances, where can people go to get that information?
So if they want to catch any of our performances, they can go to our Instagram at Top4D. Here, let me get the...
Oh, no, you think, man.
The actual thing. Hopefully I get... Yep, Top4D Band on Instagram. If they wanted to, they can also follow me on Instagram at Marquise Hendo Music. That's MarquiseHendomusic. Marquise Hendo Music. That's where I'll be, releasing my music and my personal music that I have going on in the future. So, yeah.
I can't wait for that the EP, man, that you got working. You got 7 tracks?
Yeah.
6 done.
Yeah, 6 done.
So 6 completely done.
Yeah,
final.
Done.
Damn.
Yeah.
So how close are you releasing that?
I don't know. I want to make it make sense because I did a 3-song EP a few years ago while I was actually here in Peoria, and dude, I just felt like I spent so much money, but I didn't know how to put your money in the right places, and it was just a failed business venture because I didn't see anything come of it. So it's like I still make music. Like, heck, when I get off or from here, I'm gonna go home and be in my home studio. But it's one of those things where it's like, this time if I do it, I want to do it better. You know what I mean?
Oh, you will. You got more knowledge now.
Yeah. So
that's the best thing about failure. It teaches you.
Exactly.
If you're willing to learn.
Exactly.
So that leads me to my last question for you, Marquise. Anybody that sits in this seat, I ask them all the time. Okay. As simple as this. Everybody's story has a gold nugget, wisdom, something to take away from it, something that we can learn from. So when your story's done, what do you want people to get away from your story?
Smile. Always smile. That you're going to have hard times. You're going to have tribulations. Smile through it. Because when you smile, you're going to feel better.
I like it. With that said, it's been another episode of the KZ Community Beat, episode 34. We have 34 stories in. My guest this week was Marquise Henderson from Top4D, Central Illinois' top 40 party band. But he's going to be known for a lot of other things. We're going to make that happen. When the EP comes out, you reach out to me. We're going to do another interview. I want to talk about it.
No,
we'll talk about it. We'll make that happen. Go back and check out all other 32 episodes, or I don't know. What's something sarcastic I tell the people today?
I don't know.
I'll kick you in the shin.
Yeah. Nope. If you don't, I hope that you lose your utensils on your lunch break.
I hope you. That's my favorite thing to tell people. If someone wrongs me, I'm like, I hope you have a minor inconvenience.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Because something's going to go wrong.
Not nothing big,
but minor.
Yeah.
Like you sit down after a long ass day, you grab your remote control, but the batteries are dead.
Exactly. and you ain't got no more batteries. You gotta leave.
No. You got them, but they're in the other room.
Oh, okay, yeah. I get
In a drawer that's filled with other stuff.
Exactly.
So you got to look through it.
Yeah.
That's what I hope if you don't listen to stuff. All right, we're out. Peace.
Peace.